Helicopter parent. A helicopter parent refers to a caregiver who is overly involved in their child's life, hovering over them like a helicopter. They closely monitor everything their child does, and force themselves into as many situations as possible. For example, they might track their child's location, or constantly check up on them when they're out of their house. Naturally, most helicopter parents mean well, but their constant hovering creates an environment where the child is rarely allowed to experience failure or learn from their mistakes. The unrealistically high expectations generated by this hovering leave the child in constant fear that they'll be a disappointment. Additionally, the scrutiny persists into their adult life, and as a result, children raised by helicopter parents tend to struggle with self-confidence and have difficulty asserting independence. Some helicopter parents don't know when to stop parenting, and even continue to pester and overwhelm their child when they are far past the need for constant care. Lawnmower parent. Lawnmower parents are similar to helicopter parents, but they go a step further by proactively removing any obstacles that get in their child's way, with the intention of ensuring a smooth and worry-free life. They intervene to eliminate any academic, social, or emotional difficulties. Children raised by lawnmower parents feel incapable of handling things on their own, and in turn, might develop a sense of entitlement and expect the world to cater to their needs, without having to exert much effort themselves. When faced with difficulties later in life that go unintercepted by their parents, they are consequently unequipped with the necessary problem-solving skills and coping strategies. As they have always relied on their parents to clear the way for them, these children have difficulty not only in developing healthy relationships, but also navigating through other various aspects of adulthood. iPad parent. An iPad parent is a parent who relies on tablets or other devices to keep their children occupied. This easy access to technology might be convenient at first glance, but overusing it as a substitute for active parenting during a child's essential developmental periods can be detrimental to their cognitive function. In lieu of an attentive caretaker, their device becomes their primary source of comfort and support, and relying on screens to calm themselves down can prevent them from learning how to handle boredom or frustration in healthy ways. When children spend hours on end on devices, they miss out on opportunities to engage in the sorts of stimulation that are required for the mind to grow, and the instant gratification nature of online content can damage their dopamine receptors. This damage, and the overall over-reliance on technology, can drive a child to stubbornly avoid any sort of activity in which their devices are not at arm's reach, such as sports and family gatherings. Activities that require a more focused and calm mindset, such as reading books or doing math, can also appear uncharacteristically challenging. So-called iPad kids are likely to struggle with social skills because being constantly glued to their device means they aren't spending their time practicing how to communicate and form relationships. Narcissistic parent. A narcissistic parent is someone who is excessively self-centered and tends to prioritize their own needs and desires over their child's emotional well-being. They are manipulative, using guilt and other tactics to control their child's behavior and invalidate their emotions. For example, they might gaslight the child by accusing them of being reactionary or too sensitive, or guilt-trip them into obeying their demands. Narcissistic parents' love is conditional, and they only use it as a tool for exploitation, saying things like, "If you love me, you do this for me." Additionally, they view their children as an extension of themselves, so when their child succeeds and/or receives praise, they will go to extreme lengths to direct the positive reception to them and make themselves the center of attention. Furthermore, they might follow this up by insulting them or unfairly criticizing them in order to diminish their confidence. Children of narcissistic parents feel ignored or unworthy, as their achievements and struggles are either denied or used to satisfy their parents' desires. Over time, the child may struggle with self-worth and believe that they are only valued for what they can provide to others. Commando parent. The term commando parent derives its name from its similarity to a stereotypical military sergeant. They rely on enforcing highly strict rules and frequently punish their children for breaking them in order to evoke obedience. They tend to approach their punishment style with anger and yelling, and don't offer praise or warmth when the child does well, enforcing the comparison to a military sergeant even further. They even go to extremes such as taking away the child's privacy by, for example, removing their bedroom door. The pressure to conform to these unreasonable ideals can generate resentment within the child, leading them to view their parents as the enemy. Actually, many children that were raised by commando parents end up being less compliant because they feel that rules as a concept impedes their freedom. Over time, this unruly barrage of punishment and discipline can lead to permanent self-esteem and mental health issues as an adult. Codependent parent. A codependent parent is someone who relies too heavily on their child for emotional support and validation. In this dynamic, the way the parent treats the child is akin to a therapist, as they expect them to meet their emotional needs rather than providing the child with guidance and support. This induces a role reversal situation, where the child feels in charge of their parent's happiness and emotional well-being. Being overwhelmed with these adult responsibilities, it is often said that children of these types of parents grow up too quickly. As a result, they might get called mature for their age by onlookers. These children grow up to be people pleasers, as their only method for navigating their childhood with a sense of security was to be the one responsible for handling conflict. The guilt that festers inside of them when conflict arises in their independent lives leads them to believe that they must take care of others at the expense of their own needs. Tiger Parent. A tiger parent is a type of parent that pushes their child to excel, prioritizing success over happiness. They expect their children to achieve academic success in extracurricular activities such as music and will do anything to make it happen. The common stereotype is an Asian mother who forces her child to do nothing but study, unconcerned about their emotional well-being and social life. Tiger parents use strict discipline and harsh words to make sure that their children behave according to their wishes and remind the child that they are not as good as others and need to catch up by comparing their accomplishments. As a result, the child may develop a perfectionist mindset where they are unable to let even the smallest mistakes or setbacks slide. Ultimately, children of tiger parents tie their sense of worth to their achievements rather than their value as a person, and therefore struggle with self-esteem. A branch of tiger parents is the monster parent, in which the parent believes their child can do no wrong, and they attribute bad grades to external factors such as the quality of the school and its teachers and fellow students. Emotionally unavailable parent. An emotionally unavailable parent is a parent that struggles to connect with their child on an emotional level, appearing distant or indifferent to their child's feelings. They may provide the child with their basic needs, such as shelter, food, entertainment, etc., but fail to offer the warmth and support that helps a child feel secure. This neglect, intentional or not, can lead to the child suppressing their emotions because they believe their feelings aren't valid, or that no one will listen. These children end up feeling invisible because they cannot seek approval from their caregiver and internalize the belief that they are unwanted or not worthy of love. Later in life, they might struggle to form healthy, deep relationships because they seek the kind of validation that their parents were supposed to provide them. Additionally, they might solely rely on the support of others as they never learned how to do it themselves, leading to unhealthy attachments. This parenting style is a potential catalyst for the development of an insecure attachment style. Emotionally unstable parent. Another type of parent whose actions can lead to insecure attachments in children are emotionally unstable parents. In contrast to an emotionally unavailable parent, they generally do provide support when they can, but tend to struggle managing their own emotions, which leads to unpredictable and explosive reactions that affect their relationship with their child. This instability might involve frequent mood swings, episodes of sadness, or outbursts of anger that dominate the household. The next moment, however, they might regret the way they behaved and start love-bombing the child to make up for it. For children, this high level of unpredictability can be incredibly jarring, and they may start to feel like they have to walk on eggshells or conceal their emotions to avoid setting off an intense response. The environment generally becomes an anxiety-ridden and insecure one, and the stable foundation a child needs to grow and thrive remains absent. To rectify this, the child might resort to attempting to calm their parents' emotions instead of focusing on their own needs. Later in life, children in these situations may struggle to express their own feelings and fear emotional vulnerability, associating it with chaos. Abusive parent. An abusive parent is someone who hurts their child physically, emotionally, or verbally in order to force them into behaving. Generally, this includes incessant screaming or belittling and extreme physical abuse, such as rough spanking with a belt or a piece of wood. Other punishments can include stripping the child of basic needs like food, shelter, and privacy. The short and long-term impact of this on the child can be devastating. Those that grow up in this environment live in a constant state of fear of these outbursts, and as they grow older, they might develop trust issues and have difficulty forming healthy relationships because they are conditioned to expect pain or rejection from others. Many victims of child abuse develop PTSD, which can require years of rigorous therapy to recover from. Another likely side effect is that they might end up reflecting the abusive behavior onto their partners or children, continuing the horrible cycle.